At family dinner, her dad stood up and said, "We're here to discuss why you're not good enough for our daughter." They mocked my salary, my car, even Google me to call me a nobody. My wife smiled as they demanded I sign a post-nup giving her everything. I just smiled back, pulled out my own papers, and said, "Before I sign, you all should read these." I walk into the dining room, and it's like a horror movie. 15 people, one long table. Every single one of them turns their head toward me at the same time. Nobody's eating. Nobody's smiling. My wife Miranda is already seated at the table, her makeup flawless, wearing the blue dress I once said made her look like the best version of herself. She sees me and smiles, but not the way you want your wife to smile at you. It's the kind of smile a snake gives before it strikes. Then her dad, David, stands up. He's at the head of the table like a damn mob boss. "Thanks for coming, son. We're here to talk about why you're not good enough for our daughter." That's the exact moment I realize this isn't a dinner. It's an ambush, and I'm the only one who didn't get the memo. Let me back up. My name's Jeremy. I am Chijiste Chichi. I live in Missoula, Montana. I work in warehouse logistics, been at the same job for 7 years. It's not glamorous, but it's steady. I make about $38,000 a year. My car is a 2006 Toyota Corolla with a cracked windshield that still gets me from A to B just fine. I married Miranda 3 years ago after dating for about 2. She was the first woman who ever made me feel like I mattered. We met at a city recycling event. Yeah, not exactly fireworks, but she laughed at my joke about old printers being cursed, and we started talking from there. Miranda came from a very different world than mine. Her family's wealthy. Her dad owns some consulting company. Her mom hasn't worked in years. And their house sits in one of those HOA neighborhoods where every lawn looks like it came out of a landscaping magazine. Her brother Braden works in finance. And if you're wondering, yes, he brings up his portfolio in casual conversation. Her sister Brinley married a guy who owns 3 car dealerships, and she never lets you forget it. I always knew they didn't love me. Hell, I'm not even sure they liked me. But I thought Miranda was on my side. I thought she got it. She'd roll her eyes at their comments sometimes and tell me not to take them seriously. So I believed we were a team. Maybe not a dream team, but at least a united front. I was wrong. Over the last 2 years, things started to shift. Miranda pulled away. She was spending more and more time at her parents' house. 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. Always for family dinners, or helping her mom with something, or Brinley needed a babysitter. Meanwhile, she stopped inviting me. I didn't complain at first. Honestly, her family dinners were torture. Her mom Helen would ask when I planned to go back to school. Her dad would ask if I had any real career goals. Braden would mock my car like it made me less of a man. So I stayed home. But then she started acting weird about her phone, hiding the screen, leaving the room to answer calls, saying she was on a brunch with Brinley, only for me to see Brinley posting Instagram stories from her living room with the kids at the same time. I'm not the jealous type, but I'm not stupid either. So I started keeping track, not snooping, just documenting. Every time she said she'd be somewhere, I noted when she left, when she came home, what she said she was doing. And when it didn't add up, I made a note. I'm methodical. That's how I work. That's how I survive. 6 months ago, I quietly opened a new bank account. I started redirecting my paychecks there and only moved over what we needed for rent, bills, and groceries into the joint account. She never noticed. 3 weeks ago, I got a text from her dad. Not a call, a text. The kind you send someone you don't like, but want to control. It read, "Family dinner. This Saturday, 6 p.m. Be there. No, please. No, I hope you can make it. Just an order." When I asked Miranda about it that night, she played dumb, said her dad wanted to talk about something, and brushed it off like it was no big deal. But she was nervous, kept changing her outfit the day of, redid her makeup twice. We drove separately, which I thought was weird. She said she'd probably stay after to help clean up. She always had an excuse. I should have known. When I walked into that dining room, I knew I wasn't just walking into dinner. I was walking into a trap. David gestured for me to sit at the far end of the table, opposite him. He said, they started immediately. "Let's start with your job," Helen said, barely hiding her glee. "You make less than our landscaper." Braden chimed in. "You drive a 2006 Corolla with a cracked windshield." My girlfriend's 16-year-old brother has a nicer car. Brinley, always the polished one, added, we Googled you. No linkage. No degree. You're a complete nobody. Miranda sat there, smiling. Didn't say a word. Her grandmother, Jill, leaned in. I've seen people on welfare with more ambition. Then Uncle Curtis, whose son is literally in prison, said, at least my boy tried to do something with his life before he got locked up. You're just coasting. They went around the table like they were doing introductions at a company meeting, each person tossing in their own insult. My entire existence was being dissected like I was a failed science project. I looked at Miranda again, still smiling. That same little smirk she gives when she thinks she's winning. Then David pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. Here's what's happening, he said. You're signing a post-nuptial agreement. Miranda gets everything in a divorce. You get $5,000 and a bus ticket. A bus ticket, like I'm some drifter being run out of town. If you don't sign tonight, he added, Miranda files for divorce tomorrow. We have lawyers. You have a busted car and a cheap watch. I didn't move. I let them talk. I let them throw every punch they had. They thought I'd be broken. They thought I'd beg. Instead, I reached into my own jacket and pulled out my own folder. I slid it down the table, slow and steady. Before I signed anything, I said, you all should read these. David's hand trembled as he picked up the first page. Like stories where the underdog outsmarts the wealthy? Smash that like button and drop your state in the comments. I want to know where y'all are watching from. And if you've ever had a family dinner from hell like this one, I'm all ears. Hit subscribe for part 2. You won't believe what happens when they read my documents. David's hand starts shaking. He tries to steady it, but I can see it plain as day. Helen leans over to get a look, and she makes this pathetic little gasp like someone let the air out of her on accident. Braden snatches the papers next, flipping through them like they're on fire. I sit back in the chair they offer me like a trap, and I wait. I watch. This is the moment I've been preparing for. Let me tell you what I gave them. Page 1, divorce papers. Already filed. Signed. Stamped. Dated 3 weeks ago. I beat them to the punch. In Montana, you can file solo. You don't need your spouse's consent to initiate. She'd be served soon enough. But I wanted this moment. I wanted them to know I saw them coming. That their plan was a day late and a dollar short. The rest of the folder? It's 18 months of documentation. A timeline of Miranda's lies, right down to the hour. Every fake book club on Tuesday? Documented. She always came home late. Different perfume on her clothes. And I'm not dumb. That wasn't her scent. Every Saturday brunch with Brinley? Brinley had Instagram stories at home with her kids at the same time. Screenshots. Time-stamped. Labeled. Every sketchy text. Every weird phone call she took in the other room. Documented. Then I hit them with the financials. I opened my own bank account 6 months ago. Rerouted my paychecks. Kept my contributions to the joint account exact, down to the last cent. Nobody could accuse me of slacking. And guess what? Miranda never noticed. Because she'd stopped looking. She thought I'd just keep showing up, handing over my paycheck, while she smiled in her dad's house and plotted my financial execution. But it gets better. She opened 2 credit cards in both our names without telling me. Ran up $4,000. Found out by pulling my credit report. Removed myself as an authorized user before I filed divorce. Guess what my lawyer said? I'm not liable. And that debt, it's all hers. They're still reading the folder, but it's only getting worse for them. Next section, the apartment. We were in a place together. Leases in both names. But I'd already contacted the landlord. I provided the divorce documents and requested to be removed. Got a written response. Pending Miranda's signature or a court order, I'm out. If she stalls, we go to court. But either way, I'm not paying another damn penny for that apartment. David finally looks up. Face pale. Voice low. What is this? I stare at him. This is me protecting myself. Miranda finally speaks, for the first time all night. You're being paranoid. I didn't cheat. You're just insecure. You're overreacting. I ask her point blank, explain the Brinley brunches. She stutters. Tries to lie. Brinley jumps in, backing her sister's story with obvious hesitation. She knows I have proof, and I'm watching her sweat. Helen turns to me, says I'm being manipulative, that filing for divorce without warning was underhanded. I just look at her. You tried to corner me into signing away my future in front of your whole family. Now I want to talk about fairness. Braden goes off next, calls me a thief for separating my income, says it's financial abuse. I laugh, loudly. I paid my share, got the bank statements to prove it. What Miranda did, opening credit in both our names without telling me, is closer to fraud than anything I've done. Now Uncle Curtis, the one with the son in prison, says I'm making a mistake. He says David and Helen have connections, lawyers, resources. They'll bury me in legal fees. That I'll regret this. I smile. Then I hope they brought a shovel. That's when things shift. The yelling dies down. The room grows quiet. David's no longer smirking. Helen looks like she might pass out. Miranda's whole act is slipping. No more smug smile. She's pale, sweating. Braden leans across the table. What do you want? He asks. What would make you walk away? I say, nothing. This marriage is over. Your family made sure of that. And I'm not walking away. I'm walking through. Miranda stands up, tears in her eyes now. Real ones this time. Says I'm ruining everything. She says she loves me, that she never cheated, that her family was just trying to help me become better. Better? They invited me to a dinner just to humiliate me. That's not help. That's punishment. And it backfired. David tries a new tactic. Tries to be reasonable now. Let's work this out. We'll help you get off the lease. Split the joint account. Miranda takes her debt. No lawyers. Just a clean break. Oh, now you want clean? Too late for that. I say no. We're doing this by the book. With lawyers. With court orders. And with consequences. Then I pull out the final weapon. My phone. Let's add some context. I open a folder. Screenshots from our family phone plan. See, David's the account owner. Which means I had access to the backups from Miranda's phone. She left his tablet logged in months ago, and I took what I needed. Texts between Miranda and her family. About me. About how they'd handle me. How they'd fix the problem before Miranda wasted any more time. Brinley saying she couldn't wait to finally tell me off. David talking to a lawyer about drafting the postnup. Helen saying they needed to move the inheritance money before I could find out. Wait, what? Inheritance money? I ask. David goes pale again. And just like that, the entire room knows I've hit a nerve. If you're hooked, smash that like button and comment what you would have done if you walked into that dinner. Subscribe now. Part 3 gets even messy, eh? I'm talking blackmail, inheritance cover-ups, and legal bombs. Inheritance. I say again, louder. I'm not playing dumb. I know exactly what I saw in those screenshots. But I want them to say it out loud. I want on record. Ellen jumps in. That's private family business. Not when you're married to someone and you hide tens of thousands of dollars in the middle of planning a postnup to rob them blind. Miranda stares at me like I just broke her spell. The tears dry up fast. You went through my phone? No. I say, calm and cold. Your dad's tablet. You left it logged into your family phone plan. I just opened what was already backed up. David's trying to hold it together, but he's clenching his fists under the table. I've got those texts saved in 3 places. I say, turning to each face at the table. Cloud. Flash drive. Printed. My lawyer has a copy too. Try me. Now everyone is silent. Braden breaks it first. That's blackmail. I turn to him slowly. No, that's documentation. Blackmail is when you demand something in exchange for silence. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just letting you know, if you keep harassing me, dragging me through court, or trying to destroy me, I'll show everyone exactly who you are. That's when David stands up and slams both hands on the table. You're not family. You were never family. You think you're smart, bringing papers to a family dinner like it's a damn courtroom. I stand up too. Calm. Steady. You made a courtroom. I just brought the evidence. Then I look at Miranda. I'll be out of the apartment tonight. You'll get served officially within the week. Get your own lawyer. Your family's attorney can't represent both sides. It's a conflict of interest. Good luck. I walk out. No jitting. No slamming doors. Just footsteps. I drive straight to Alan's place. He's a buddy from work, another warehouse guy. Salt of the earth. When I told him I needed a place to crash, he didn't even blink. Couch is yours. Take as long as you need. I packed a bag earlier, just in case. Clothes, laptop, documents. Left the rest behind. Didn't care. I was done living with someone who smiled while her family carved me apart. That night, Miranda calls 5 times. I don't answer. She sends a flood of texts. This is insane. You need to come back. We can work this out. My family is furious. You need to fix this. Fix this? I wasn't the one who dragged me into an ambush. I wasn't the one who smiled while 15 people insulted my car, my income, my life. I wasn't the one who lied for over a year. The next day, Brinley texts me a long message about how I've torn the family apart, and Miranda is devastated. Braden sends a one-liner. You'll regret threatening us. I let it all sit unread. My lawyer tells me not to block anyone yet. We need to document the harassment. Let them keep talking. Every text they send now helps us later. So I leave the floodgates open, and the pressure keeps rising. 2 days later, Miranda shows up at my job. She walks straight into the warehouse, screaming my name. Security stops her. My supervisor pulls me into the break room, wide-eyed. She says, "You abandoned her?" I walk her out to the parking lot just to calm things down. She's crying, yelling that she can't afford the apartment, that her family cut her off. Says David and Helen are blaming her for letting this get out of hand. They say I was supposed to keep you in line, she screams. That phrase, keep me in line, makes my stomach turn. Come back, she begs. Drop the divorce. They'll forgive you. We can go back to normal. What's normal, Miranda? I ask. She doesn't answer. Then she says the thing that tells me this is going to get worse before it gets better. If you don't come back, I'll tell everyone you were abusive, that you controlled the finances, that I was afraid of you. I already had my phone recording in my pocket. Call it a gut feeling. I captured every word. I step back. Thanks, Miranda. That's all I needed. My lawyer laughs when I play in the recording. We're done playing nice. Then it snowballs. Miranda drains the joint account. $1,200. Gone. That was the rent money for the apartment, still under my name. I pay the full $1,850 for my separate account to avoid an eviction on my credit. Her family doesn't bail her out. They're done with her, too, for now. She says I've left her destitute. I tell her to get a job. She works part-time at Brinley's husband's dealership, like 15 hours a week. Enough to buy coffee and shoes, not rent. Now she's angry. I'm cold. I've changed. I'm punishing her. Braden shows up at Alan's door. How he found out where I was staying, I don't know. Probably followed me. He says they'll offer me a new apartment, a car upgrade, a clean split, if I drop the divorce and come back. I laugh. Now you want to negotiate? He switches tones real fast. You're making an enemy of this family. You got a couch and a warehouse job. You'll run out of fight. I've got enough fight left to bury you in court, I say. Your threats mean nothing to someone with nothing to lose. He leaves, red-faced. 2 days later, I get served again. Not divorce papers. A request for spousal support. Miranda wants $800 a month, while I'm still paying rent on an apartment I don't live in. My lawyer actually laughs again. She's got jokes. We prep for court. Then I find a real smoking gun. See, I've been thinking about that inheritance. 2 years ago, Miranda's grandma died. Around the same time, her family got real aggressive about questioning my job, my salary, my future. I pulled up old bank statements from our joint account. October, $85,000 deposit, labeled estate settlement. It sat there for 2 months in our joint account before vanishing into some external transfer. Bingo. My lawyer files a discovery request. We want to know where that money went. Miranda stalls. Her lawyer tries to block it. The judge says no. It's relevant now. Now they're panicking. David offers me $10,000 to drop the inheritance claim. Then $15,000. Then $20,000. I don't respond. Helen shows up at my work again. This time, security stops her cold. She waits in the parking lot. When my shift ends, she tells me Miranda's not eating, not sleeping, maybe suicidal. I say, then help her get actual help. Don't use her pain to guilt me back. I drive off. Brinley corners me at the grocery store. Tells me Miranda's suffering, that she's lost weight, that I've destroyed their family. I tell her what I told Helen. This isn't about love. This is about control. You tried to erase me. Now you're paying for it. Like seeing entitled families eat their own lies. Smash that like button and tell me what state you're watching from. Hit subscribe. Part 4 is the courtroom battle you've been waiting for. Court day finally comes. I wake up early and dress like I mean business. Not in a suit. I don't own one, but clean jeans, a black button-up, and boots that don't have warehouse dust on them for once. I don't need to impress anyone. I just need to be ready. Alan drives me. He doesn't say much, just pats my shoulder before I get out. Go finish it, he says. Inside the courtroom, it's like a reunion of people I never want to see again. Miranda's already seated with her lawyer. She looks smaller somehow, thinner. Her makeup's on, but not sharp like before. There are bags under her eyes. Her hands tremble when she picks up a pen. Behind her, David, Helen, Braden, all sitting in the gallery like backup dancers in a concert nobody bought tickets for. Me? I sit beside my lawyer, and I don't look at them. I don't give them that power. The judge walks in. Female. Stern. No nonsense. I like her already. She opens with the discovery request. Miranda's lawyer hands over a folder. The judge flips through. How much was the inheritance, she asks. $85,000, Miranda's lawyer answers. Where was it deposited? In a joint checking account with the respondent, he says, meaning me. The judge's eyebrows go up. And how long did it stay there? About 7 weeks. And then, it was moved into a brokerage account in Miranda's name. Judge leans back. Why was it deposited in a joint account if it was meant to be separate property? Miranda's lawyer says it was just a temporary deposit for processing. Says the estate lawyer used that account by mistake. My lawyer stands. We have statements showing Miranda had a personal account at the time. If she wanted to keep the inheritance separate, she could have directed the deposit there. The judge looks at Miranda. Is that true? Miranda nods, barely. I didn't think it mattered. Then my lawyer asks the golden question. What happened to the money after it was moved? Miranda stammers. It went into investments. How much? 60,000. And the rest? Silence. The judge narrows her eyes. Where's the remaining 25,000? Miranda looks like she wants to disappear. Finally, she says, I gave it to my parents. My lawyer, was it a gift or a loan? A loan. Was there a written agreement? No. Any repayments? Not yet. That's when my lawyer lays it all out. He presents text messages from Miranda and Helen, discussing the inheritance, how to hide it, how to move it fast before I could ask questions. David's name comes up multiple times. Brinley's too. They were all in on it. The judge reads through the messages. Her face doesn't change much, but I can see the tension in Miranda's hands. Then my lawyer drops the hammer. We argue that by placing the inheritance in a joint account, then using that account for shared expenses, Miranda commingled separate funds with marital assets. Furthermore, transferring $25,000 to third parties, her parents, was an attempt to hide marital property. The judge doesn't hesitate. Agreed. Boom. She says I'm entitled to 40% of the inheritance, adjusted because it originated as separate property but was mishandled. That's $34,000. Miranda has 90 days to pay it. If she can't, her parents become liable for the $25,000 they received. Helen gasps. David mutters something under his breath. Braden just sits there, arms crossed, face like stone. Next issue, the lease. The judge rules in my favor. My name? Off immediately. Miranda is now 100% responsible for rent. If she can't pay, she has to move. The $1,850 I covered for the bounced rent gets deducted from what Miranda owes me. Now she owes me $32,150. Credit card debt? All on her. She opened those accounts in secret. Spousal support? Judge laughs. Denied. Miranda is capable of working full-time. That's it. The judge sets a final hearing for 60 days out to confirm payments and finalize the divorce. But the hard stuff? It's over. Outside the courtroom, David storms up to me. You'll regret this, he growls. My lawyer steps between us. Any threats will be reported to the court. Helen tries next. You took her grandmother's money. That was meant for Miranda's future. No, I say. Miranda made it marital property. That was her choice. Braden says I'm a leech. Says karma will find me. I smile. It already did. And it came for you. That night, I finally sleep through the night for the first time in months. The next morning, Miranda calls me 43 times. She texts over 100 messages, some begging, some threatening, some saying she still loves me. I don't respond. Helen texts me, Miranda's in therapy. Are you proud? I block her. David texts, we're liquidating assets. You happy now? Blocked. Braden sends one more threat. Blocked. Only one person I keep unblocked is Miranda, for legal purposes. If she wants to talk payment arrangements, she can go through her lawyer. You want to know what revenge feels like? It feels like walking out of a courthouse while the people who try to destroy you realize they just blew $34,000 trying to humiliate the wrong guy. It feels like knowing you have proof, receipts, and the law on your side. It feels like freedom. Think Jeremy handled that like a champ? Smash that like button and tell me if you would have taken the $25,000 hush deal instead. Subscribe. Part 5 is the final showdown. And trust me, it ends with fireworks. It's been 2 weeks since the court hearing. 2 very quiet, very strange weeks. Not that Miranda stopped texting. She didn't. She just switched tones. At first, she begged, said she couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't believe I was doing this to her. Then she raged, said I was a thief, that I destroyed her life, that I was taking money from a grieving granddaughter. Then she tried to manipulate again, sent a photo of us from 2 years ago, captioned it, "We were happy once." I didn't reply to any of it. Instead, I moved forward. I used part of the upcoming $32,150 judgment to get my own 1-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. First place I've ever had where I don't have to walk on eggshells or pretend to be someone else. I replaced the cracked windshield on my Corolla. Finally, been staring through that fracture for over a year. Feels symbolic now, seeing clearly for the first time. I bought a new mattress. A good one. The kind that makes you sleep like you've never known stress. Alan even helped me haul it in. Big win for Team Warehouse, he said. Yeah, it is. Then it happens. Miranda misses her first court-ordered payment. Not by a few days. Not by an accident. She just doesn't pay. No call. No explanation. My lawyer sends a notice. No reply. A week later, we file for enforcement. Another week after that, we file a motion to garnish her remaining investment account, where the rest of the inheritance was. Still nothing. And then, my lawyer gets a call from David. He wants to settle. We meet in a conference room. Just me, my lawyer, David, and their new attorney. Miranda isn't there. David's wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. But he looks like he hasn't slept in days. He offers me $20,000 to call off the rest. I say no. He offers $25,000. Still no. Finally, he offers the full $32,150, but only if I sign an NDA saying I won't ever speak publicly about their family again. My lawyer starts to speak, but I raise a hand. I look David in the eye. You remember that dinner? I ask. He says nothing. You remember sitting at that table, telling me I was a nobody? Telling me I'd leave with $5,000 and a bus ticket? His jaw clenches. Well, I say, I'll take the $32,150, but I'm not signing anything. He starts to protest, but I cut him off. Your family tried to ruin me. You planned it. You documented it. And now that the judge sided with me, you want silence? I lean forward. You can't buy my silence. You already paid for my revenge. My lawyer grins. David signs the check. I cash it that afternoon. I open a savings account, drop $20,000 in there immediately. I use another $5,000 to fix up my car, finally get the transmission work done. I put $3,000 toward my lease and utilities, months ahead. And with the last few thousand, I buy something I haven't owned since college. A brand new laptop, a desk, and a chair. I clear a corner in my apartment and start teaching myself code. I figure if I can log boxes in a warehouse, I can log data too. I don't know where it'll take me yet. But for once, I'm making moves for me. Miranda? Word gets around. She moved back in with her parents. Braden tried to smear me on social media. Call me a gold digger and parasite. But then, someone, not saying who, anonymously posted the screenshots from that night. The texts. The receipts. Suddenly, his post vanished. And so did his comments. The best part? I run into Helen at the grocery store one afternoon. She sees me in the checkout line and turns red. Starts pushing her cart faster to get away. I call out casually, Hey, Helen, how's the family inheritance doing? She doesn't answer, but her face says everything. Here's what I learned. Some people think power is money, connections, real estate, influence. But real power is not letting them break you. They planned everything, and I turned every piece of their strategy against them. They tried to silence me with shame. I answered with proof. They tried to beat me with wealth. I beat them with patience and paper. They thought I was nothing. But nothing is dangerous when it has nothing to lose. So yeah, David wanted me to leave that dinner with $5,000 and a bus ticket. Instead, I walked out with $32, $150, and my life back. Not bad for a warehouse guy with a cracked windshield. If you stayed through this whole ride, thank you. Like this video if you believe quiet revenge is the most powerful kind. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done at that dinner table? Don't forget to subscribe. More real revenge stories coming every week.